We've all heard about the beautiful natural wonders of the world, but there are many more jaw-dropping destinations you probably don't even know about, some so remote they're still untarnished by humans. In the most hidden corners of the earth and far off the beaten track, here are the top 10 most beautiful untouched places in the world. Get ready to feast your eyes. Number 10. Háifoss Waterfall, Iceland. Háifoss Waterfall in Iceland is one of the highest and most spectacular waterfalls in Iceland. It is not only a waterfall but a natural wonder with many features. Placed in a magnificent but relatively narrow gorge leading into the Icelandic highland from the Valley Gjósadalur, it is one of the major waterfall attractions in Iceland. It is fed by and is part of the river Fossa or Waterfall River. The volume is relatively steady but naturally varies between seasons. The height is impressive as it falls 122 meters down a 2-million-year-old cliff that displays layers of geological activity dating back millions of years. It is a beautiful sight from top to bottom. It is not a lonely waterfall as it has lived in the gorge with its dear friend and companion for thousands of years, the waterfall granny or neighbor. Number 9. Wall of Tears, Hawaii. There are about 17 waterfalls altogether that flow into our location, which is named as Wall of Tears. This place is located at 50 meters height in the island of Maui. Wall of Tears, it is known to be the second wet surface in the world. In addition, it is also the major concentration of several waterfalls in Maui. Visitors need to book helicopter to get the magnificent view of waterfalls flowing down the cliff and the green velvet blanket of nature. Some people say that gods punched their fingers all over the surface of the cliffs to get a picture of expressing grief. It is however not so easy to get the entire view as the falls are hidden. Visitors need to get closer to get the best view of the falls. At the first sight, most of them do not believe their eyes as this place is spectacular and produces senses of purity, liberty, motivation and tranquility. Number 8. Tepui, Venezuela. It's often called the Lost World, after Arthur Conan Doyle's 1912 fantasy novel. By any name, eastern Venezuela's Tepui country is indeed rich in fantasy and adventure, in strange and spectacular scenery, in legend and legendary treasure. There's a primeval, otherworldly feel to Tepui's huge, flat-topped, sheer-walled table mountains that tower over a 500-mile area of rumpled green savanna and forests. Imagine mesas of the American Southwest ballooned to mile-high size and gone to bush, wrapped in spun sugar clouds, fringed with the exotic foliage of the tropics, and fractured by hundreds of waterfalls. Some have yet to feel the tread of human feet. In Conan Doyle's novel, adventure scientists discover a Tepui inhabited by dinosaurs, ape-like or missing links, and other evolutionary leftovers. Fiction, obviously, but possessing a certain logic. To Conan Doyle, these table mountains were islands in time, so walled off from the world that, like the Galapagos, life evolved here on its own terms, immune to evolutionary battles that raged elsewhere. Number 7. Rock Island, Palau. The Rock Islands are like nowhere else on Earth. It's no exaggeration to say that these unique island formations scattered across a 32-kilometer stretch of turquoise ocean southwest of Kora are the reason to come to Palau. From any vantage point, underwater, from the air, lying prone on a beach or aboard a boat, it's a mesmerizing fantasy-scape of limestone islets surrounded by crystalline waters. The bases of the islets have been undercut by water erosion, fashioning them into peculiar mushroom shapes. The surrounding waters contain some of the most abundant and varied marine life on the planet. Small wonder it was added to the UNESCO World Heritage List in 2012. And surprisingly, the Rock Islands are a world-class destination for diving, snorkeling and kayaking. Number 6. Son Doong Cave, Vietnam. The largest cave in the world is set in the heart of the Phong Nha Bang National Park, in the Quang Binh province of central Vietnam, and contains its own river and jungle. At more than 5.5 miles long, It's hard to believe this featuring of nature went completely unnoticed until 2009 until 2010, when it was explored by the British Cave Research Association, and has only been open to the public since 2013. It still remains fairly untouched, with less people having seen the inside of Hang Son Doong than having stood on the summit of Mount Everest. Number 5. Tsingy de Bemaraha National Park, Madagascar. The Tsingy de Bemaraha National Park is a very strange place where jagged pillars consume much of the landscape. Tsingy translates to where one can only walk on tiptoe, and it is easy to understand how befitting this name is. Part of this western region of Madagascar is protected as a national park, while the other part is recognized as a nature reserve. Ring-tailed lemurs are the ones who walk on tiptoe through the sharp labyrinth of limestone. There are quite a few species of plants and animals that are completely endemic to this bizarre part of Madagascar. Number 4. Cocos Island, Costa Rica. Cocos Island is one of Costa Rica's top destinations for the experienced scuba divers. This area of the ocean is filled with elusive sea creatures such as giant manta rays, whale sharks, hammerheads, dolphins and other marine species is truly out of this world. This is one of the very few places in the world where hammerhead sharks assemble by the thousands. Many scientists believe today that they are coming to the region to breed. Typically, diving takes place from boats like Zodiacs or other small aluminum boats, with up to 20 divers per boat and a maximum of 3 dives per day. Some divers are sometimes offered a chance for a night dive according to their experience and specialties. There are no less than 59 species of fish, 97 mollusks and 57 crustaceans in the water surrounding the island. Number 3. Namib Desert, Namibia. This desert, located along the Atlantic coasts of Angola, Namibia, and South Africa, stretches for more than 1,200 miles and is one of the driest places in the entire world. In some parts, this desert only sees 2 millimeters of water for the entire year, which means that it is basically impossible for anything to survive, and the few living things that do live must do it with the most minimal water possible. Near the coasts, this desert consists mostly of giant sand seas that span hundreds of miles. Any living thing that gets left or lost in the areas would never be able to live without a rescue. In the less arid areas, there are indigenous people who manage to survive, but for the most part, the Namib is only home to invertebrates like scorpions and other small animals that can live with almost no water. Number 2. Yucatan cenotes, Mexico. The Yucatan Peninsula, which is located in southern Mexico and directly north of Belize, is filled with natural pits and sinkholes called cenotes. These holes are formed when the rock just beneath the ground begins to dissolve and break away, leaving large gaps and holes in the ground, which expose the groundwater that has been lying beneath. The rock that falls into the water causes the remaining rock to dissolve even further, causing the area to continue growing in size and form massive natural pits in the earth. Exploring these holes is far more dangerous than it is worth for the payoff of learning more about them, especially when the entrances inside them are already difficult to find, let alone enter. Despite their natural beauty, these caves pose extreme danger for explorers and animals alike. Number 1. The Galapagos Islands, Ecuador. The Galapagos Islands straddle the equator roughly 600 miles off the coast of Ecuador and are home to one of the world's most unique and pristine ecosystems. This remote, volcanic archipelago is a hallmark of biodiversity. They support a wide variety of endemic marine and terrestrial species seen nowhere else on Earth. And without any natural predators, the wildlife here is not only unintimidated by humans, but it's usually quite curious about them. While roaming these islands, a wide variety of bird, tortoise and iguana species can be seen. Jump into the crystal blue waters and watch sea lions, turtles, penguins and sharks glide right in front of you. In other words, there's a reason why the famous naturalist Charles Darwin was so inspired by the Galapagos, and it's likely that you will be too. And that is a list of the most beautiful untouched places in the world. If you enjoy this video, please hit the like button and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our list video.